What is up, guys? It is your commissioner. This is the week 5 recap. Um, we're already done with 5 weeks. We're over a third of the way through, almost halfway through, and the league has really started to separate themselves. I've got all my graphs going, and I'll show you a few of them so far. These have not been updated with the projections for this week yet, but they have been updated with the results from week 5. So we'll start with the last place probabilities. After 1 week of handing the reins over to Ferguson there, I have taken it back. And again, this hasn't factored in any injuries from this past week because Charles Sims was placed on IR. So now my running backs going forward are Duke. Who is my second running back? I don't know. It's not good in Tampa Bay. I guess if I really wanted to not get last place and not have the license plate frame for an additional year, I could trade some of my picks to bolster my team for this year, but I'm not going to do it. Can't make me do it. But it's a four-man race for last place at this point. It is myself, San Francisco, St. Louis. St. Louis is actually second, and then DDP that are fighting for those honors. And I actually anticipate Bork moving a couple of his running backs before it's all said and done. So he's not super deep, but right now he still has Theo Riddick and Frank Gore, I think, which are holding him there a little bit lower in the probabilities than the rest of us. Playoff probabilities, it's basically 7 teams fighting for 6 spots. Northman is 4-1 right now. They're 2 games up on San Antonio, but San Antonio actually has a better chance of making the playoffs than Northman does because San Antonio's through their tough part of their schedule. They've already faced Austin. They've already faced Los Angeles. Yes, they lost both of those games, but Northman has had a little bit of an easier schedule and still has to play those tough opponents later on. Mike is a virtual lock for the playoffs at this point. Very, very close to a 100% probability. It's not 100%, but it would be really, really unlikely for him to miss it. Oh, and if you see the screen line, whee! If I was any good at animation, I would have made a little stick figure go sliding down there. Chris, 0-6, but still has a better playoff chances than myself, San Francisco, Dundee, or St. Louis. Division probabilities, 3 teams have clearly separated themselves as the team to beat in their division. Again, even though Northman is tied with Doug, Doug just has a better team and is really likely to come out on top of that division. And then in the middle, we see Carolina and San Antonio should be battling it out the rest of the way. Carolina is a game up, does have a victory over San Antonio, but again, San Antonio has played tougher competition, non-conference or non-division than Carolina, so that could balance out. Yeah. Championship probabilities. It's Mike's world. The rest of us are just living in it. So Mike is up to right around a 1/3 probability of winning the championship, which means that there's a 2/3 chance that he will not. The thing that Mike has going for him is he does still have his first-round pick next year. That's probably the best trading chip still available. I don't know how Richard didn't get that in his trade. I don't know how he still has it on him based off of some of the other trades that he's made. He's only made a couple trades. He's made 2 trades with the rookies because the veterans are all used to his trade negotiations. So congratulations, Mike. You have put together a very successful roster, but I think that it's at the expense of a couple of guys who didn't know what they were doing. Whatever. You have the team to beat right now. Doug in second, even after his loss, just shy of 20%, followed up by Oakland. That's the third highest chances. Carolina, in San Antonio. All right, this week's Waterboy Award. Let me pull up my notes here a minute. Lots of potential Waterboy awards. So there were some close matchups this week. Austin could have beaten Seattle if he played Tevin Coleman. I don't know why he's sitting Tevin Coleman. He had one game where he only scored 9 points. But if he played Coleman over Quincy Enunwa or Dwayne Washington, would have given him the victory. St. Louis, not as easy of a decision. If he would have played Greg Zuerlein, I think Zuerlein had 27 points. If he played him over Mason Crosby, St. Louis would have gotten the victory this week. Even though St. Louis only lost by like 0.2 points, that is the only change that he could have made in order to propel himself to victory because his bench is that terrible. No one else he could have put in other than his kicker. Carolina, lots of terrible decisions, and, well, lots of decisions that did not work out in their favor. Gronk, coming off his zero burger from the week before, put up some points this week. If he would have played Gronk over Kyle Rudolph, who had a fantastic week the week before. Not an easy decision, but if he played Gronk, he would have won. If he played Randall Cobb over Victor Cruz, who got a zero burger this week, he would have won. If he would have played Phillip Rivers over Carson Wentz, he would have won. If he would have played Adam Vinatieri over Josh Lambo, he would have won. Any one of these four would have propelled him to victory. Ended up with the second most points this week, not good enough to beat Oakland. And then finally, Rio Grande could have played Martellus Bennett and his 3 touchdowns over Cameron Brate, and that would have gotten him the victory.
Jackknife!
That was a dud, Jimmy.
Shut up, Tracy.
You shut up.
You shut up, Rob. Oh, I meant to say this at the top. Rob, if you're watching this, stop watching. Go ahead, pause it. Turn away. You don't need to be watching this. There's no pertinent information here. So I'll give Rob another 5 seconds to leave. All right, for the rest of you, now that Rob's gone, I really don't like Rob. He kind of gets on my nerves a little bit. Duds. Kenny Stills, 0 points. Clive Walford was a late scratch after Dwayne Allen put up 17 points for me on my bench. And Dontrell Inman, my big pickup of the week, for $7. I think he got like 1 catch for the week. Over in St. Louis, Eli Rogers was announced out. There was no one that he could have put in instead. And Vance McDonald got a 0 burger as well. I don't know if he was announced out or not, but 2 zeros, no one on his bench that he could have put in. Only lost by 0.2 points. Nothing he could have done. Carolina, already mentioned Victor Cruz, got nothing for him. And Rio Grande, Dexter McCluster, Danny Woodhead light, reminiscent of the game from Monday Night Football a couple years ago with Danny Woodhead. McCluster, 0.1 points, I believe.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine, and you're not really fine. You just can't get into it because they would never understand.
They would never understand. The sky is falling. There's a very clear divide between the haves and the have-nots in the league right now, and that divide is almost perfectly split alphabetically. The sky is falling goes to the second half of the league alphabetically, except we need to switch Seattle with DDP. So if we move Seattle to the front, we move DDP to the back. It's a perfect line between the two. The first 6, all 3 and 2 or better, all would make the playoffs if the season were ended right now. The last 6, all 2 and 3 or worse, would all miss the playoffs right now. So the sky is falling for San Antonio, St. Louis, Tampa Bay, Dundee, Rio, and San Francisco. The best week ever. Switching it up a little bit. It's not really related directly to our league, but the best week ever goes to the Big Ten running backs. I'm going to say the Big Ten plus running backs. Midwest running backs in college anyway, because 6 of the top 7 players at the running back position this past week hail from the Big Ten or from Notre Dame. So Tevin Coleman out of Indiana, Theo Riddick out of Notre Dame, Ezekiel Elliott out of Ohio State. Who else was there? David Johnson was number 1. Do I want to waste time pulling this up? I don't know. 6 of the top 7 did come from the Big Ten. Le'Veon Bell, I think, was up there. Jordan Howard was up there. Those are 2 more. Maybe I mentioned them all. I don't know. Well, it took him 5 weeks. Finally, the consensus number 1 overall pick in any rookie draft that you did at the beginning of the year. Ezekiel Elliott gets his first rookie of the week. 2 touchdowns, well over 100 yards. I don't look up his exact stats. And is really carrying Oakland. Looks like Oakland is going to make the playoffs. So I traded away that 1 pick. I ended up getting Coleman and Treadwell because I swapped Sammy. I don't know. Maybe I should have just hung on to Zeke. But Zeke with a fantastic week. And then finally the A-team. Let's start with the kickers. And the reason why we're starting with the kickers is because they suck. I mean, kickers, there's no rhyme or reason to who you start. The top 5 kickers this week all did not start for a team. One of the kickers, not even on a team, and Sebastian Janikowski. Greg Zuerlein, 27 points on a bench. Who else was there? Caleb Sturgis for myself. I think 18 points on my bench. There were 4 guys at the top that did not start for a team. So the guy that started for a team tied for 5th among kickers this week, and that is Josh Brown for Austin. I forget what team he's on. Doesn't matter, because he's a kicker. At tight end, we have our second repeat winner of the year, and it's our first non-kicker repeat winner of the year. No rookie has won the row twice. No quarterbacks, no wide receivers, no running backs have made multiple A-teams, and Greg Olsen is the tight end of the week for the second week. It would have been Martellus Bennett. Pretty sure, anyway. Don't quote me on that. At quarterback, welcome back to Tom Brady. Looking like his old self. I think that Brady is going to be in FU mode this year. So San Francisco gets their first A-team of the year. Again, don't quote me on that. Wide receiver goes to T.Y. Hilton out of Carolina in the losing effort. T.Y. is still Andrew Luck's favorite target. Yes, Moncrief has been out. That's only going to increase Hilton's productivity. But he's put together back-to-back fantastic games. And then running back, also out of Carolina, also in the losing effort, because he sat Gronk, and he sat Cobb, and he sat Rivers, and he sat some kicker that doesn't matter. David Johnson is the running back of the week. So Brady, Hilton, David Johnson, Greg Olsen, and Josh Brown. Those are your A-team for the week. And Chris, everyone else can shut this off. Really, Chris, Julio, and Charles for Le'Veon Bell and David Johnson. I hope for your sake that you are just trolling people, that you don't think that these are actual legitimate offers, because they are terrible. So that is the recap. We'll have to see once if Thursday I get around to doing a preview video. Maybe I'll put that to D12 Insider. So goodbye to everyone not named Rob, because Rob has stopped watching like 8 minutes ago. Catch you guys later.